So imagine having a kid with your child, if you're a man with your daughter, and as a girl with your father. That's what this guy did. He not only did it once, not twice, not even 3 times, but 4. He married 4 of his daughters and had kids with some of them. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Here on Mortal Faces, I take portraits and transform them to see how individuals we read about might have looked back in the day. I also untangle some inbred family trees, so let's get started. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more historical recreations, and let me know in the comments who you'd like to see in real life. And one last thing, forgive me for these pronunciations of wonderful names we're about to see. In order to see who Ramses II really was, we'll have to check out his ancestors, and it continues after King Tut's death at the end of the 18th dynasty in Egypt. You can see King Tut's full incestuous family tree on my channel, the link's in the description. After King Tut's death, since he had no heirs, the throne went to Ai, who was his half-sister wife's husband. Ai's sister was Queen Tia, and his mother, Tuya, was a descendant of Amos Nefertari, so he had royal lineage. As mentioned, Ai marries Ankhesenamun, which means Ankhesenamun had 2 husbands with a possible third. Her first husband was rumored to be her own father, Amenhotep IV, and they had a daughter together. When he died, she took on her half-brother, King Tut, and they had 2 stillborn girls. However, King Tut died suddenly at the age of 18, so then she took on Ai, her grandmother's brother, also known as her great-uncle, and this is where the story continues. Ai could have gotten the throne because he married the widowed queen, or he was related to Queen Tia. It's not entirely certain. Ai had 3 kids that we're kind of sure about. Nachtmen and Mutnejmet are relevant here. Nachtmen was groomed to be the next heir, but died before his father, and Mutnejmet was a girl, so her husband became the next pharaoh. Her husband was Horemheb, the commander of the royal army and a commoner. How on earth he got the throne, we don't know. Process of elimination as the son-in-law to the pharaoh? Maybe the army liked him? It's a question mark. He was the last pharaoh, though, of the 18th dynasty, and upon his death, he too died without any heirs. So he appointed his vizier, Ramesses, as his successor. This was to reward Ramesses of his loyalty, and also Ramesses had both a son and a grandson to secure Egypt's royal succession, so that's why he was a good choice. Ramesses adopted the royal name Ramses I, and this began the 19th dynasty in Egypt. Just to recap, there were 30 native dynasties in ancient Egypt. King Tut was 18, we're now on 19, and Cleopatra was technically 33 if we're counting, but she wasn't part of the native dynasties. Ramses I was not royal. His father was a troop commander and his brother was an army officer and also became a vizier like Ramses. His reign was very short, like 17 months. Ramses I married Setir, a woman of non-royal descent, and they had their heir, Seti I. Seti married Tuya, a daughter of a lieutenant, so again some fresh blood, and they had 3 kids, Tia, Ramses II, and Henutmir. And this is the part that we've all been waiting for, the nasty. Ramses II had a whole bunch of wives and over 100 kids, and surprisingly he lived to about 90 or 91 years old. His first wife, before he was even pharaoh, was Nefertari, and of their 9 known kids, 4 of them are significant. Crown Prince Amunherkepsef, Nefertari, Mertamon, and possibly Nebetui. Another of his earlier wives, named Isenofret, is also important. She gave him Bintanath, Prince Ramses, Kahamwaset, Merneptah, and possibly Isenofret II. We're still not done with Ramses. His first daughter-wife was Mertamon. They don't seem to have kids together. Then he married Bintanath, daughter from his second wife. Together, the father-daughter couple had a child who would be considered a daughter and also a granddaughter. She had the same name, Bintanath. I'll just cut to the chase. She marries her brother-uncle, according to some theories, but we don't know what happened with that relationship. Ramses' third daughter-wife was Nebetui. the speculated daughter from Nefertari. We don't know if they had any kids. Finally, his fourth daughter wife was Henutmir. It's not known if she was his full sister or a daughter from another unknown wife, but I'll let you decide the lesser of two evils. Ramses II's reign brought Egypt into the Golden Age. There was a time of peace, and this allowed its society to develop away from a military power to a more diplomatic cultural power, allowing great monuments to be built. His eldest son, Amunherkepsef, married his full sister, Nefertari, and they had a possible baby boy. Unfortunately, the trail ends there, and the crown prince dies before his father, so the successor becomes his half-brother, Prince Ramses. But he also dies young, so the next living son is his full brother, Kahamwaset. But guess what? He dies too. So it goes to his fourth living brother, Merneptah. Merneptah becomes the next pharaoh after his father, Ramses II. Merneptah was actually the 13th son of Ramses II, and he got the throne after all his older brothers died. Ramses II, as mentioned, was probably the longest reigning Egyptian pharaoh, ruling for nearly 67 years and dying at the age of 90 or 91, so Merneptah got the throne when he was about 70. Aside from Bintaneth, Merneptah had two wives, Asenofred II and Takat. Asenofred II could have been the daughter of his brother Kahamwaset, which would make this an uncle-niece relationship, or she could have been the daughter of Ramses II, so his full sister. Together they had about 4 kids, and his eldest was Prince Seti II, the next pharaoh. To Merneptah, Takat was either his aunt, sister, or niece, and she became his secondary wife. She, though, had a son with a different man. His name was Amunmensi. These later years in the 19th dynasty was a time of chaos. Amunmensi became the rival king to Seti II. For a few years, he persuaded Upper Egypt to follow him, while Seti still reigned. Seti II eventually takes his Egypt back. Seti II married Torset. Torset was either a daughter of Merneptah and Takat, making her a half-sister, or she was Ramses II's daughter, making her his aunt. She became the final ruler of the 19th dynasty in Egypt, but didn't rule independently until her predecessor died. So her husband, Seti II, died, and his successor was Siptah. You see, Seti II had a son named Seti Merneptah, but we don't know what happened to him and why he never got the throne. Siptah's father is unknown. It's thought to be either Seti II or Amunmensi. His mother was a foreign woman from Canaan, the land near Jerusalem, Israel, and the Dead Sea. As a result, she could have been a concubine of Ramses II or his son Merneptah, making him a half-brother to the pharaoh, or an uncle. Due to his young age at 10 or 11 and problematic parentage, he was put under the guidance of his stepmother Torset. An Egyptian official named Chancellor Bey boasted about himself that he was the one to put Siptah onto the throne. However, his arrogance likely lost him favor, and Siptah ordered his execution. He ruled for about 6 years and then died when he was around 16. Torset then took over the throne and reigned as pharaoh, but only for a short time, around 2 years. You see, there were no surviving children of Torset and Seti, so after she died, or was overthrown, we're not too sure, the 19th dynasty ended. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can see King Tut's family tree here, and I also have Cleopatra's incestuous family tree done too, and how both of them might have looked in real life. If you want to see more recreations or family trees, then consider subscribing to my channel. Each of your subscriptions does help this channel grow, and it allows me to continue making more content for you. Let me know in the comments who you'd like to see in real life. I do make a list of all your suggestions, and I will see you in the next one.